limit the comments that are made on a document that's basically the size of a telephone book, and you have to take an exercise class to lift.
Well, let me just say that.
Well, let me just finish what I want to say, and then you can comment, because I want to comment first on this proceeding.
Well,
you had prior hearings, and people came to these hearings similar to what's happening now. You knew from the list of people that signed up at those prior hearings the distance that they would be coming. You knew the volume of material that we would be addressing. The Department of Energy, if it was interested in seriously getting your comments on issues as serious as this, could have looked at where the predominant body of people were coming from their addresses, and held the hearings in those areas. I traveled 140 miles to come here. 140 miles, and I know that there's people here that came further than that.
That's right, Lloyd.
And we deserve, we're citizens, we deserve to be heard and not interrupted, and I intend to give my testimony. Did you want to comment on that?
Yes, the only quick comment I want to make is that there are a number of ways of offering comments, and whether your comments are verbal or emailed or written and everything else, they are all considered equally. So that if you don't have an opportunity to finish your statement tonight, or if you want to add things, you can send them in and they will be weighted equally. So I'm just saying that there are reasons why some time limits are placed on speaking so that everybody has an opportunity to speak, but it's not intended to limit people's comments. The EIS process these meetings have been held for years and years, and there always have been time limits. So just by way of introduction, and you're certainly welcome to make your comment.
I appreciate that, so you don't need to put up the warning sign. The other thing that I want to also offer a synopsis. I've attempted to read this document, and I have waded through quite a lot of it, not all of it. And I have three statements to make about concerns that I see immediately from the document, and then I want to...
Let me remind you that he's representing the Department of Energy.
That's fine. I assume if I speak in this direction, the voice carries. Right. Okay. Okay. I have four very short concerns that I want to speak to about this document. There's no comparison with renewable alternative energy and conservation. There's no economic analysis of projected costs. Nothing. There's no in-depth analysis of available uranium supply under projected domestic and world consumption. No way to get an appreciation for whether the uranium supply is going to support what's being projected here, or even the recycling of the transuranics out of the waste to be burned again in reactors. Finally, I've been very concerned about terrorism, which I'll address in my speech. What happens here in this document is that you have an analysis of the reasonably foreseeable accidents. I always love that word, reasonably foreseeable accidents, that take place at these variety of installations. And then, when you go to the appendix that deals with what are called the intentional destructive acts, it basically says what they do is they take what appears to be the worst of the, quote, reasonably foreseeable accidents and factor that in as the intentional destructive acts. In my mind, that's not how terrorists think. Nor does it provide an assessment of the damage and, I believe, the ultimate radiation release that could happen from the way terrorists might think and the kinds of parameters they might introduce into an intentional accident. So I don't think this document's credible just looking at those four items. Now, I'd like to go to my testimony. My name is Lloyd Marbet, and I am the Executive Director of the Oregon Conservancy Foundation. And by the way, over near that exit sign, on the table, are copies of documents I'm going to reference, and also my testimony, what copies I could make to come before I came here. On March 26, 2007, I appeared before you testifying on behalf of Don't Waste Oregon and stated the following. It always amazes me how you can witness significant events in history and yet fail to get the message, especially when it impacts your economic aspirations or threatens your global image. A group of men filled with hate take over commercial airplanes, and instead of flying them into nuclear power plants, which they actually considered doing, fly them instead into two towers that were not supposed to collapse. We wake up in a world of terrorism, and now what we are proposing to do is build more nuclear plants, producing more nuclear waste, creating more potential accidents and terrorist targets, and through reprocessing, designed to prop up the continued operation of existing nuclear plants and its backup nuclear waste, create even more weapons-grade material for a world that competes preemptively to see who will self-destruct first. If this is addressing non-proliferation, then we are all in Alice's Wonderland. Upon reading the draft programmatic environmental impact statement, my conclusions have not changed. What we have is a document designed to promote the increased reliance on nuclear power in the most favorable light, free from rigorous comparison, quote, with meeting future electricity demands by non-nuclear means or conservation, unquote, while at the same time using nuclear waste reprocessing as a justification for exporting nuclear power throughout the world. The issue of non-proliferation is not even addressed, having been separated from the GNEP EIS and placed in a non-proliferation impact assessment that we are told is being prepared by the National Nuclear Safety or Security Administration and available to be used by the U.S. Department of Energy for its record of decision, but only after these public hearings are over. This is highly objectionable, considering the need to formulate government policies that actually stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons and our right as citizens to provide informed public input on the underlying foundation of these proposals.